Hey everyone, thanks for checking in with us again this week. Got another great batch of reports from the staff, and as you can see, it's cold out, dark. We're just getting packed up, headed out into North Dakota with Josh, a fellow staffer of mine. We didn't really know what we were going to go after. We wanted to target some perch and maybe get after some crappies, and we got into a really good batch of fish today. The perch kind of died off, so we moved and tried to find some crappies, and when we found the crappies, they were loaded up. Had a graph full of fish and had a really good time. I'll let Josh kind of give you the details on where we were at, what we were using in the depth, but we had a great time. It's cold out. Hopefully that weather starts to warm up and the fish start to cooperate a little bit better, but we want to make sure that you guys are sticking with us. We'll have these reports every week for the rest of the ice season, so stay tuned. We got some more great reports from the staff, and we'll catch you next week.
Hey guys, Josh here. You know, as Anthony was saying in the intro, him and I decided that we would go out chasing some jumbo perch over the weekend. It doesn't always go as planned. We did end up getting some very nice perch. Just the numbers were not there. So about halfway through the day, we decided that we would change gears and go after crappies. With the full moon phase being upon us, I figured it would ramp them up. So we went to one of my favorite reservoirs here on the eastern part of the state. Utilizing our Garmin units. One of us had the charts loaded up, so we were able to look at the maps. And when I fish a reservoir, I really like to concentrate on that channel, finding inside turns and such. We found one that looked really good, and then it actually had a couple deep holes within that inside turn. So we opted to use the Panoptix and really localize where these fish were starting to come through. Once we were able to really key on where they were starting to swim through and, be more active right at that peak time, we decided to set up the houses, and it's been, it's been really good. It doesn't seem to matter what we're throwing at them. I've been using a jig and wrap. We've been using small spoons. We've been using big flutter spoons. It really doesn't seem to matter. I think the key on it is just being in the right place at the right time, and of course the full moon phase is definitely helping ramp these things up. Guys, this bite's going to get better and better as we get deeper and deeper, closer to spring here. The weather's going to start warming up. We're going to start having all that runoff, the fresh oxygen in the water. It's going to really start rejuvenating these fish, and they're going to, start going on that feeding frenzy, getting ready for that spring spawn. So, guys, just stick with it. The warm weather's coming. It's coming right behind all this cold stuff. So, stick with it. Till next time, guys. Tight lines.
Hey, Jesse Tintus with Tintus Outdoors and Fish Addictions TV with this week's report coming from Lake of the Woods. Lake of the Woods has been pretty steady. People are getting out there doing fishing and coming in with the fish they're looking for. A lot of people have trips coming up to Lake of the Woods, especially in Minnesota, where the walleye is getting ready to close up for the season. We have a trip planned, maybe 2 of them in March. We look forward to it, and some of the techniques we've been using and will be using in areas we've been fishing, getting out around structure, getting out in the mud a little bit. We're fishing in 27 to 30, 32, 33 foot of water, getting our electronics out, finding the fish, marking the fish. If you're seeing suspended fish, you're probably going to be in a school of tulibies. If you're going to see fish a lot closer to the bottom, they're going to be the walleyes. What's been triggering them is your standard Lake of the Woods color, the reds, the golds. One thing that I have found that has really produced more fish this year is dead sticking, and it's not just dead sticking with a live minnow, it's dead sticking with a frozen shiner, just to keep from scaring those fish when you have any movement. So you can minimize your movement by just having a frozen shiner and a quarter-ounce jig down there. Otherwise, look forward to next week's report. Be safe out there. Snow is deep. It's cold, but it's been a fun winter.
Hey everyone, quick update from Southwest Minnesota. This is Chris. Got out on a couple lakes here this past weekend. There's a lot of snow. Heavily fished lakes, there's better trails. Some of them are plowed by individuals. The best mode of traffic is probably a snowmobile or a tractor machine. You can get around pickups, but you really need to make sure you're mindful of the drifts or you will get stuck. First lake we hit for some crappies, perch, and walleyes. We bounced around a little bit. It was your typical Southwest Minnesota lake. You're 9-10 feet deep. The fish are kind of roaming that bowl, so we bounced around until we kind of landed on a few. This late in the winter, they're kind of get slow. They're not as active. The oxygen levels in the lake start to drop, especially with the minimal sunlight getting through the snow. So the best thing to do is to downsize. We used small spoons with waxies. If you typically use a fathead or a chub, maybe drop down to a crappie minnow or a fathead. Smaller presentations seem to work better for all three species of fish. As that oxygen level drops, the metabolism in the fish kind of slows down a little bit. So they roam yet, but they don't need to feed as much to keep their body moving. The second lake we hit was loaded with little panfish, and I kind of know that. It's well known in the area, so it's a great lake to get kids out on. Set up the hub. You can put a camera down. I find a camera with kids works really, really well, keeps them interested, especially in a lake with a lot of panfish because there's constantly fish swimming past that camera. Really small tungstens with a waxy will help your kids hook fish on their own. If you have too big of a hook, the smaller panfish sometimes are hard to hook. They'll suck the waxy off and you won't be able to get them up. But we caught probably 30 or 40 bluegills. The kids had a blast. It's one of those things where you get a nice day where it's not so cold out. You can really put a lot of those little fish up on the ice, and it makes for a great day out on the lake with your family too. Gets them out of the house in the middle of winter here, but we're kind of winding down at the end of the season. Fishing typically slows down this time of year, so keep at it, keep moving around, downsize that presentation, and hit it hard here the last 2 weeks and see what you can come up with.
Hey everyone, Evan Palmer here, checking in from West Central Minnesota. I was recently able to get out in the past weekend and get on a good crappie bite. I found some fish in a shallow basin. It's caps out about 12-13 feet. It's in a smaller bay on one of the lakes in the area, and they're just kind of roaming that basin, eating on some bugs in the mud. The crappies were kind of mixed in with some sunfish. A lot of the sunfish were pretty small, so I didn't really target them. Just targeted the crappies. Caught them with just a basic tungsten jig and a waxworm, or a small spoon and a waxworm. Really seemed to be key to have the waxworm on there this time of year. They were a little finicky. But yeah, I went hole hopping a little bit outside of we have the permanent out here now. Went hole hopping a little bit and was able to get a few, and then came back into the permanent and caught some more. The evening bite seemed to be the best. So anywhere from that hour and a half before dark. Throughout the night they bite, but that window is kind of the prime time. As far as lake travel, you really can't get around without tracks right now unless you're on a plowed road for most of the lakes around here. There's plenty of ice, 20+ inches, pretty close to extension time, but other than that, get out, get on the bite.